Hello, everyone, and welcome to League Review. I'm your host, William, and today we are finally catching back up to the WildCard region. It's going to be a little bit different podcast today since I figured uh, this are just. We're not going to do the match history for the last 3 weeks because it's already absurd with 1 week. So I figured instead of doing match history today, we'll do kind of like a little bit of like a catch up episode to get people back up to date with all of the regions. So we'll do that. We'll make our predictions at the end, and then after that, we will just end the podcast. But so first up is the CB LOL region. These are my power rankings. We'll actually use this as well. These the LOLpedias or LOL Gamepedia or whatever. We'll use this as well to talk about them. But first up, we've had a lot of interesting things in the Brazil's league. We have Flamingo rising back up to the top. We previously had them in third in our power rankings. Moved up to the top. They're currently sitting 9-3. That's kind of expected. That's not too exciting. Kaboom 9-3 is a little bit of a surprise. They've always been really good. Obviously going to Worlds last year and stuff, and they're famous as well from previous Worlds with C9. But we have they're pretty good. They just previously lost to Flamingo last week, so they would originally be number one, but now they're number two. Still very solid split, tied for first at the moment record wise. Redemption's number three. They're having a so-so year. I think they're expecting a lot more. 6-6 is they're number three, which is probably where they were expected to be, but the 6-6 record is where it's like, not as good as it should be. Uppercut Esports, my team, the Kangaroos, they are back. They are back at 6-6, and I cannot be happier. But the biggest surprise of all is when we left, CMB was like 1-5, if that. Well, I think they were 1-5 once we left for Rift Rivals and such, and now they are all the way up to 5-7 on a 4-game winning streak. And not only that, they have taken down. They took down, I believe, was it Pain and Flamingo in the same week? No, it was no. They took down one in INTS last week, but they took down Flamingo and Pain. Yeah, 2 weeks ago they took down Flamingo and Pain, and now they took down INTS and Team One as well. So they are absolutely killing it right now. And honestly, they're only a game out of third place. What a comeback from previously. INTS is the MSI representative is still struggling mightily as they are currently 5-7, tied for fifth place. Also a game out of first, or third, I should say. So I can't say struggling mightily, doing amazing for CMB, but it's all about where you want it to be. INTZ wants to be kind of towards the top since they won the region in the spring split, so they kind of want to obviously be a top. CMB has been towards the bottom of the split. It just did not look good at all, and we're expected to finish at the bottom of the split. So, and also they're on a 4-game winning streak while INTZ is on a 2-game losing streak. So on I have INTZ as number 17 right now. They look pretty bad. Same with Pain Gaming, who we previously had at number 2. They're at number 6. They've also had quite a rough stretch. They're at a 1-game losing streak at the moment, but before then, they had lost 2, I believe, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're coming off a 1-game losing streak, but before that they had one win against Team One, and then after that they had a 5-game losing streak. So they're 1-6 after starting out the season 4-1. So we had them way up there towards the top, but they have really fallen off, and that's why they are also in sixth place at the moment in my power rankings. In Team One, things haven't gotten much better. They're 3-9. Their only victories have come against INTZ, Redemption, and Uppercut. So their victories are honestly not that bad, but that you can say that really when the rest of the league is only one game out of the playoffs. Everyone's not a bad victory for you if you're Team One. But unfortunately for them, they are 3-9 and on a 2-game skid as well. So they haven't looked great either. They had a nice week in week 5 where they beat Redemption and Uppercut, but after that they've lost every game since then, since we last talked about them. But yeah, that will be CB LOL. So Flamingo, Kaboom, and Redemption Uppercut are currently the top 4 in the playoffs, where CMB and Pain are a game out, and Team 1 is quite a few out, like 3 games out of the playoffs at the moment. So let's quickly do our predictions. They're down here. Oh, also we had a shaky start with a 4-4, 5-3, 3-4. Oh, that's supposed to be 3-5. I tried to cheat. This one's weird, but this was a really good week. Last week I had a 7-1 finish with only Pain Gaming letting me down against Redemption. I thought they'd pull the upset, but unfortunately they kept going. Because I thought they recovered with their win against Team One, but nope, did not. The skid basically continues. Week 7 though, we have Flamingo over Uppercut Esports. I think that Uppercut's looking good, but Flamingo is looking like the best team again. I have CMB upsetting Redemption. I am on the hype train for the CMB team. Redemption looks so very meh, wishy-washy, win loss. Where CMB's on a super good winning streak, 4-game winning streak. They have all the momentum coming into this game. I'm really feeling them right now. INTZ, I think should be able to take down one. One took them down last time, but I just think one is the worst team in the Brazilian league. Kaboom to take down Pain Gaming. Pain Gaming struggles continue with Kaboom. Kaboom, that's a really tough matchup for them to go into with already on a pretty bad streak. I have Uppercut Esports upset are beating Redemption. I guess that's not an upset. They're both 6-6 at that point, or 6-7 with the way my predictions go. I think Uppercut is just slightly better than Redemption right now. Like I said, the Redemption doesn't look very. They look very disappointing to me. With a team that has White Lotus on the team, it's just like I expect more from them, and I'm not getting it. I have CMB actually upsetting Kaboom. I'm telling you guys, I am on this hype train. It's been so much fun watching these guys. Like they are back in. I love seeing teams that are way at the bottom and expected to finish at the bottom all of a sudden go on hot winning streaks like this. And they look pretty good doing it too. So I have them actually upsetting Kaboom and Redemption in the same week to put them all the way to 7-7, which would get them in the playoffs. I have INTZ actually beating Pain Gaming. I'm lost on Pain. Pain Gaming is like the team I've given up on that should still have a chance. Like Team 1, you can't really expect much. But Pain is the team that should have had a really good split. Started out 4-1. Everyone was expecting really good things from them, but they have completely collapsed. They're losing every game left and right, and I think that INTZ will actually be able to upset Pain Gaming here. And then Flamingo over 1. One's a pretty big blowout. There should be no problems there whatsoever. Also, side note, we will soon, next week, be able to actually talk about the Russian League. I don't even know the region. Let me look up Russia League of Legends. Look, I even looked it up earlier. The LCL starts June 20th. So they haven't even started their season yet. And then there's teams like our CB LOL who are... Oops, that's not it. That's OPL. But there's CB LOL who are 7 weeks into the season already. And they haven't even started yet. There we go. Yeah, they're on week 7 this week. It's insane. It's insane that they haven't started yet. Anyway, we got that's all for CB LOL. We'll move on to the OPL now. The OPL has kind of steadied itself a bit. Mammoth still doing really good. I'm very surprised by this team. I did not expect much. I expect the middle of the pack to begin the season, but they're still 7-2 and they're looking pretty good. They are on only a 1-game win streak. They did finally lose a few games, but the team I want to talk about is Chiefs. When last we left them, they were 2-2, I believe, and they haven't lost since. Maybe they were 3-2, but yeah, they've been just on a rampage. Yeah, they were 3-2 last time we had the podcast. So since then, they have not lost. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and they look all as right in the world as they were the favorites coming into the split. Avant has struggled a little bit towards the end of here, where the end of the last few weeks. They lost the last game that they played, which was today against the Bombers, and then they had also lost to the Chiefs a previous game with a win against Garatos, but that's not much. But they're losing to the Bombers and the Chiefs. The loss today to the Bombers, really not good for them. I expected them to win that game. So unfortunately, they have dropped down to number 3 in the power rankings. Direwolves are sitting at number 4. I have them above the Order and the Bombers. I personally think that they beat the Bombers, basically, is kind of where I drew the line there. And unfortunately, I just don't see too much from the Bombers in my opinion. Week 3, Direwolves beat the Bombers, and even though they're 4-5 and they don't look fantastic, BioPanther looks okay, but they're not the Direwolves of old. Let me tell you. They're not the worst Direwolves that we saw last split, which was probably one of the worst teams in all professional league, but they're still not the Direwolves of old, where they're just dominating this league. 4-5. They're currently in the playoffs. I believe it's a 5-man playoffs in OPL. But yeah, see, green, green means you're in. They would be tied at the moment with Order for the playoff spot, but unfortunately, I don't see them going anywhere outside of like a low playoffs. Maybe make a tiny run, but they'll get shut down by these top 3 teams. Bomber, I have actually Order above the Bombers as well. So Order, I mean, they're only a game above them in regular standings. So I have Order, who has also recently beat the Bombers just last week or just last Saturday. Orders really recovered their season. They were 1-5 on the season, pretty much looking dead last with Legacy, and now they've won their last 3 games. This is expected. Order is supposed to be a pretty solid team, top 3 team coming into the split. So having them start the season 1-5 was quite shocking, and I lost a lot of picks on it. But it's good to see them finally coming back around. Gravatas is 2-7. They're with a 3-game win streak. Not too much to expect. And Legacy has lost their last 7 games, so they have not won a game since we last saw them. They had only won 1 game when we did see them, and that was against Order, who, again, like we said, was super, super struggling at that point, and that's why we actually originally had Legacy ahead of Order at the time. With that though, we will go to our predictions. We had a nice week last week, a nice 7-1 week. But today we went 3-1. The only loss was that Avant Bombers versus Avant. So just wait to the LJL. By the way, we had a fantastic run LJL. So week 5, I should say. I do have Direwolves beating Order, even though Order is back on track. I really do believe that the Direwolves should be able to handle them. This is a coin flip game. So I picked the Direwolves, but I don't really have much faith in the Direwolves. Let me say that. It's a coin flip, really hard game. But Order's on a hot streak, so I can see them winning as well. But I still think Direwolves will be able to take care of business. Chiefs over Gravitas, that's a pretty easy. Gravitas is one of the worst teams in the league. Chiefs is one of the best teams. Mammoth over Bombers, same thing. Bombers I consider just to be very below average. Not the worst, but definitely below the average, I'd say. Mammoth has also been a very surprising team this year and tied with the Chiefs still. And then Avant over Legacy Gaming. That's very simple. Legacy Gaming hasn't won in 3 weeks, and yeah, they're not very good. Week 6, we have Avant over Order. So unfortunately for Order, coming back from their, they are 4-5 with that 3-game win streak, but I have them losing their next 2 games to fall to 4-7, and it might knock them out of playoff hopes. Not necessarily, but it will make the road to playoffs a lot harder. They just have a tough schedule. Well, the Direwolves game's a coin flip, but the Avant game's a tough game. Chiefs versus Bombers. I actually have the Bombers upsetting the Chiefs. This sounds probably really dumb with the way I just flamed the Bombers and praised the Chiefs, but it's just one of those upsets I'm just feeling, just gut feeling there. I can't really explain it too much. Mammoth over Legacy. I can't pick Legacy for anything. And then I have Direwolves over Gravatas because they're pretty much on the same boat. The only time I can really pick Gravatas is when they're facing Legacy, which I believe is they actually beat Direwolves and then they beat Legacy. But I think Direwolves get their revenge on this game and take down Gravatas. Is that week? No. Yeah, okay. I was like, this is Direwolves versus Bombers, but yeah, I forgot. That's next week's predictions. OPL is the weird one, where they play on the Friday and we do the podcast on the Friday, so it makes the predictions all funky. Let's talk VCS, and I just realized I exited out of my podcast, so that's good. Or my spreadsheet, so that's awesome for me. But in the meantime, the VCS has been going kind of like really well, honestly, from a prediction standpoint. For me, the first week where we left off, I believe, in the first week, we had a 6-2. Let's move that there, And yeah, we finished 6-2, so pretty strong. And then we followed that with I believe we only had two of these, by the way. We only had one of these actually, an 8-0 performance. We did have one undefeated, but it was a shortened week. But the 8-0 performance here was very happy about that. It was my first undefeated week of any region so far this split. I've struggled mightily compared to last split in my predictions. Now that I know more, I get my predictions right less. It's the way the world works. But yeah, I have Dashing Buffalo currently number one. They are on a losing streak. They did lose to Gigabyte Marines, who Zeros is almost back. I believe he only has 3 more games on his suspension, and then he'll be back for them. So that'll be a big boost to their team. Levi is also on Gigabyte Marines, if you did not know. But that's why Gigabyte Marines are actually the only team I've moved up, because even though I went 8-0, I had 6-2, so I was like, and I'm 2-2 here, so I'm currently 16-4. Like that's pretty high percentage, I would say. I think that's an 80% pick rate. Yeah, that's an 80% pick rate right now in the VCS. So absolutely, I'm very happy about that. I've never been at 80% before this far into a season, but it's only 3 weeks, half of 3 weeks, I should say too. But but yeah, we have Dashing Buffalo. I still think they're number one, even though they lost to Gigabyte Marines. They have also beaten. They have beaten Team Flash and Team Low Key. So, like the two teams they're tied with record-wise, they have beaten both of them. So I feel like they are still deserving of the number one spot. Low Key though is number two, I think, and Team Flash is number three. That's very coin flip between the two. Like I think that both of them can go either way, and they do play each other this week. So that will that's probably a little bit of a spoiler who I pick. Gigabyte Marines has moved up to number 4. Evos has dropped to number 5. QTV stays 6. Cerebus is number 7. I was really going to put Cerebus number 8 because I thought they were going to beat FTV this week, which is who I in game 1, because Cerebus had not won a single game on the year. They were currently 0-8 before that series. It was not good. Unfortunately, they did. Or unfortunately for FTV, who's the bottom team, who I originally did at the bottom team, is they went 0-5. They haven't won a game. They've won 2 games, but no series, and they lost that series to Cerebus 2-0, which is not what you want to see. So that was the power rankings for VCS. So the predictions for VCS is just the rest of the week here, which is I have Gigabyte Marines beating Evos. I have Dashing Buffalo beating Cerebus. I have Quality Gaming beating our QTV Gaming, not Quality Gaming. Quality Gaming is Japan, or similar to a Japan name. QTV is gonna beat FTV, who I am very disappointed, and Loki I have beating Flash, which is why I have Loki number 2. That one is gonna be a super coin flip. I also think the Evos versus Gam is gonna be a coin flip, and honestly, QTV versus QTV versus FTV is going to be a pretty big coin flip as well. The only one that I'm pretty confident in these next 4 games is Dashing Buffalo versus Cerebus. And watch that be the only one I get wrong. But that one should be an instant lock for correct, I should say. Moving on to our TCL, which is also on week 6, which makes the Russia one even more absurd, in my opinion, that they don't start till next week. TCL, we've had some interesting developments. The biggest one is that Supermassive would currently miss the playoffs. Like Supermassive is one of the best teams by far in the TCL. Pretty much, I would say everyone always you always expect them, especially with Stone Mage, Frozen, Zeetnot, and Wolf on the team. Fabulous is pretty decent as well, but this team was in the finals, again, lost to 1907 Fenerbahce, but Supermassive has always been there with 1907 Fenerbahce for the team out of Europe. Or, out of Turkey. But yeah, they are really struggling down in 6th place. Also, is Royal Youth is dominating right now. They're on a 7-game win streak and just absolutely killing everyone they play. They have a really good game, I believe, this week against, the last game of the week is 1907 Fenerbahce and Royal Youth, who's also 7-3. They just actually lost to Supermassive, but before that, they were on a really good win streak. They were on a 4-game win streak before that. With their losses are to Istanbul Wildcats and Supermassive. And Supermassive twice, actually, I believe. Haven't they lost to? Because yeah, they lost to Supermassive twice this year. So unfortunately for 1907, is that Supermassive sucking for everyone else, playing up the par when they're facing them. Yeah, but, so our power rankings, we have Royal Youth at number one. They're on a 7-game win streak, 9-1 on the year, looking really, really strong. 1907 Fenerbahce is number two. Sorry, I didn't even mute my mic there. We have Galatasaray, Galatasaray. I'm really bad at Turkish names, by the way, but they are. I have them currently number three. They are tied for third with Besiktas Esports. I think that they're both. This is the coin, but Besiktas has moved up to fourth for me, and I'm just gonna say GS has moved up to number three, or they were number three last week, so it wasn't too much. I believe GS beat them. Yes, and GS beat them, so that's why they're ahead. I was like, there was a reason for that. Supermassive has dropped down to number five for me. I still believe in this team with their win over 1907 Fenerbahce. They've actually moved up. They've moved down since the last time we did this podcast, but they've moved up since since before that, like my mental power rankings. So it's kind of a weird thing like that. But I do really like Supermassive. I think they should recover this season. It's a little shaky, but I think they have a good chance to recover this season to at least make the playoffs for sure. Uh, we have Team Aurora at number six. They had just recently lost to Supermassive themselves, so that's why I picked Supermassive beat Team Aurora. Hmm. I should have switched those around. I thought that Aurora lost Supermassive, actually. So we're gonna do a really quick switch there, and then Supermassive, because that's my bad. But yeah, updating the power rankings on the fly. But yeah, Aurora, they're like Supermassive. They're bottom, the middle of the pack. I have more faith in Supermassive to eventually do better. I think they have more potential than Aurora does, but I still think Aurora can easily make playoffs. I don't think they can make much of a splash in the playoffs, but they can make the playoffs. Galactus, Galacticos is my number seven team. They're currently tied with Supermassive at six. It's the same situation where I don't see a lot of potential with this team. They're 4-6. They're on a 2-game win streak, which is nice to see. But before that, they were 2-6, and it's better to be on the 2-game win streak. I just don't see this team necessarily going far, and I don't necessarily see them possibly making playoffs either. Then we have our three-way tie for last place with Bursapor, Dark Passage, and Istanbul Wildcats. Oh my god, I cannot I just have something in my throat or my chest. But yeah, I have Dark Passage number 8, Bursapor number 9, Istanbul number 10. Istanbul's on a 4-game skid right here. They were 3-3, looking pretty decent, nothing too special. They had a win against Dark Passage. Their win against 1907 Fenerbahce and their win against GS were really good. But then after that they were 3-3, but they had some good wins. So I was expecting this team to make the playoffs, which they still can. They're only a game out. But yeah, this 4-game skid needs to stop. I'm pretty shocked by this one, honestly. It's kind of like the CMB where I'm shocked that they're winning games, and this is where Istanbul, I'm shocked that they're losing all these games. So with that, let's go to our predictions, where we have I should probably see who they're facing, so you can see Aurora versus Istanbul. I think that Istanbul's skid continues. Unfortunately, when they're facing Aurora, I think that the Aurora will be able to handle them. Like I said, they're really struggling right now. Their last 4 games at Istanbul, they lost to Galacticos and GS, which is an okay loss, but the Galacticos loss they probably shouldn't have had, and then the Burr support loss they shouldn't have had, and the BJK that loss is that's a possible win, but that one's not as bad as the other two. So they have some pretty bad losses as well. It's not like they're just losing only to the top teams, and they're only losing to the middle teams as well. They're not like the middle top. That's a weird thing to say, but third and fourth, basically. What I should have said. Next, we have Royal Youth for Supermassive. Unfortunately for Supermassive, Royal Youth is on a roll right now, and I expect them to win pretty much every game. They're dominating the games that they are in. BJK versus Galacticus. Even though I have Flame Galacticus, I have them upsetting BJK. I'm not sold on this BJK team, honestly. I'm really not. Even though I think that they're tied for third right now. They seem pretty subpar in my opinion. So I saw this as an opportune time to pick an upset. 1907 Fenerbahce, we picked over Bursaspor. Bursaspor is one of the worst teams in the league. 1907 Fenerbahce is one of the best teams. Pretty easy. GS over Dark Passage, same situation. Third versus like an eighth place team. Nothing, not too strong of an upset there. Upset alert there, in my opinion. Supermassive should be able to recover against Istanbul. Istanbul, actually, this game's going to be much closer. Both these teams desperately will need this win if my predictions go correctly and they both lose again. That means Supermassive would actually be out of the playoffs and Istanbul would be on a 5-game losing streak. Both of them need this win. I think Supermassive has more talent on their team to be able to take it in a high-pressure situation like that. Galacticus, I flamed them a bit for picking them to go 2-0 this week, but Bursaspor is a pretty low-level team. I think that they're not the best. They're low level in Turkey. That's all you need to know. So Galacticus actually will have a 2-0 week, in my opinion, which would get them on a 4-game winning streak, and maybe they can build something off of that. I still don't necessarily believe it. I think that their ceiling is low level playoffs, but off a 4-game winning streak, anything can happen with that kind of momentum and confidence. Dark Passage over Aurora, that's an upset for me. I think that Dark Passage of the 3 bottom teams is the best one, in my opinion, and at the moment, because Istanbul, I would usually say that, but unfortunately they have lost 4 games in a row. They look bad. It's just like they're losing the bad teams. So unfortunately, I don't think they are. Where Dark Passage is still playing games pretty tough, I think, but they're just not. They're not winning them. Kind of a Vici situation. Uh, GS. Oh, I have GS over BJK. Obviously, I have them third and fourth. They had previously beaten them, and that's kind of also what leaned my power rankings. Is I had them predicted to beat them also this week as well. So that's why I kind of moved them over to third and fourth. Very close game though. Very coin flip. Speaking of coin flips, best game of the week: Royal Youth versus 1907 Fenerbahce. The two teams that truly look like they are above and beyond the rest of the league, in my opinion. 1907 it can't beat Supermassive though, apparently. But outside of that, I think these two teams are by far the best. Probably the two teams we'll see in the finals, as long if Supermassive doesn't get their act together. But I think Royal Youth actually beats 1907 here just because of how dominant they've been. And I still don't. I mean, they have Intara has been really good for 1907. Has been really replacing Ruin there for them. And I like Balulu still and Hades. I think 1907 is pretty. They're gonna put up a good fight. It's gonna be a close game. Again, that's gonna be more of a coin flip. I'm going with Royal Youth in that match. Next, let's move on to the LLA. So we only have 2 more regions. Nice. And then next week we'll be back to match histories and stuff because we'll only be doing 1 week and not like a catch up episode like this one. 2 more regions. Power rankings or I guess the standings for the LLA. Isurus actually lost their first game, but they're still 11-1, so they're totally okay. All Knights, the team to slay Isurus. By the way, predicted that. Was very happy about that one. That was one of my bold predictions. Big fan of the All Knights team. They seem pretty lackluster at times though. At 8-4, I feel like they should do much better than what they actually do. I feel like they get upset a little too much, but they stepped up. That's what I felt like. I felt like they lose to teams that they really shouldn't be losing to, but I felt like they were really going to step up for that Isurus game, and they did. And that was actually they were able to finally get a win off of them. The first team in the LLA to do that. Furious Gaming has been the surprise. That last time we saw them, I believe I had them in 7th place in my power rankings. They're on a 2-game win streak, but they're 6-6. So they're having a really good season, actually. For most people, predicting them to finish 7th or 8th place. Infinity is also 6-6 at in 3rd place as well. They're having they've been okay. They started out the season, I believe, 4-1. So they're like 2-5 since then. So they've been struggling as of late. Let me double check that. They went 1-1 last week. 0-2 the week before. I believe that's 0-2. Yes. No, they went 1-2 the week before, and then 0-2 the following week. So they had a stretch between week 3 and week 4 when we went covering them where they went 1-5, 2-5. So they've been struggling quite a bit. Still at third though, so I still have them in third place right now. But I actually moved All Knights above them, and I think I have Rainbow Seven. Did Infinity beat Rainbow Seven? Yes, they did recently. So that's why as well. Yeah, they beat him just last week. I was gonna say there's a reason why I had Infinity because I thought I was gonna drop him lower, but unfortunately, like Rainbow Seven was right there. I actually do have Rainbow Seven above Furious Game, even though Furious Game's on 2 game win streak. I'm still a little bit worried about this team. They did trade a game with All Knights and Infinity, but the rest of their wins, I guess they're crushing Rainbow Seven. Never mind. They've beaten Rainbow Seven twice. They deserve it. Another change to the power rankings on the fly. I love when I argue myself out of my own predictions, like just like taking a second glance at it. And I'm like, you know what? Fierce Gaming deserves it. I won't have them over Infinity, even though I do know they just recently beat Infinity last week. I think that Infinity as a whole, that's tough to make that argument as well. Do we make it? Do we? We're gonna do it for Furious Gaming. For those Furious Gaming fans out there, we are going to move you not only one position, we're gonna move you 2 positions. I didn't want to move them up so much because last time when we had previously talked about them, they were like a 7th place team, and I'm still like hesitant on the team. They're 6-6, but they have been playing really well, to be honest. And Infinity and Rainbow Seven are playing pretty meh. So I mean, they deserve it. All Knights, I don't think they're in the same class as Isurus and All Knights. Who, even though All Knights beat Isurus, I still think Isurus is in a class of their own. We also have X10, Pixel, and Chaos Latin Gamers. They're all you need to know is they're all struggling pretty bad at 5-7, 4-8, and 3-9. X10's doing better than I expected, but they're just not looking too hot. Pixel just beat them, I believe. Yeah, Pixel just beat them, but they did beat Chaos Latin Gamers, so that's good for them. So let's go with our week 6 predictions. Our first one is All Knights versus Infinity. Like I said, Infinity is actually struggling quite a bit recently, so I actually have All Knights beating them. This game, that's not that big of a surprise, I don't think. After All Knights coming off a victory against Isurus Gaming, they're looking to be on top of the world. I have Pixel actually upsetting Rainbow Seven. Tiny upset, only a 1 game difference. But I think that Rainbow Seven has also been playing very meh, like Infinity. So I think that they're actually going to lose this one. Furious Gaming, I have being upset by KLG. KLG seems to, I believe KLG beat Furious Gaming earlier in the season. If I remember correctly. No, they did not. They lost to Furious Gaming. I messing this whole LLA up. I feel like with Furious Gaming, my knowledge is very poor. I watch a lot of games. I forget some things. It's a little too many games to watch, but I still think I'm gonna go with my original prediction. You can't change predictions on the air. I can change power rankings, but I don't like to change predictions. So KLG, even though I thought they beat Furious Gaming earlier, but I was wrong. That was why I picked it. I was like, they're gonna do it again. They just matched up well against them, but no. Hey, it could still happen. Could still happen. They've still won 3 games, but Chaos Lion Gamers are kind of weak. Kind of weak. Isurus should be able to take down X10 coming off vengeance for their loss against All Knights. Rainbow, I believe X10 will beat Rainbow Seven because I really am disappointed in this Rainbow Seven team. They did beat Chaos Latin Gamers, but they lost to Infinity, who was struggling. They lost to Isurus. They lost to Furious Gaming, and then their last win was in week 3. Before that, when they faced X10 and Pixel. But I think X10 gets the even 1-1 on the year after that, and they'll be able to take down Rainbow Seven. All Knights should be able to handle Chaos Light Gaming just fine. I'm not going to pick this team for bold predictions for upsets 2 games in a row, especially against the 2nd and 3rd place team. Only one is crazy enough. Furious Gaming over Pixel, I think that one's totally fine. I have them getting upset to KLG, but coming back furious. And taking down Pixel in this game to recover and still be in 3rd place with Infinity, I believe. Yeah, they'll be tied with Infinity. No, they'll be ahead of Infinity because Infinity's facing ISG. Infinity's going to lose both games this week with facing All Knights and ISG. It's a very tough week for Infinity, who, like we said before, is currently 2-5 in their last 7 games. It's about to be 2-7, and that is really rough at a 6-8 record and 2-7 in the last 9 games. It's a lot of games. So next, let's move on to the LJL. Might be my favorite region to predict after a very rough 3-5. We went hot for a while there. For the first week, we went 3-5. Second week, we went 5-3, and then we did start doing. I don't believe we did the podcast actually on the second week. Let's get rid of that. And let's So since we stopped doing, I think we only did the first week of the LJL, so we've missed a lot. Unsold stuff, not good at all. For a team that's supposed to be top three, they are 2-6 at the moment, and they've dropped all the way down to number 7. Access, we expected to be last place, so 1-7 with 5-game losing streak. Kind of expected. Everyone kind of expected them to be there. Shocking, Crest Gaming, who was a top 3 team, or top 2 team even, but I don't think anyone expected an 8-0 start from them. They've been amazing. As well as V3, who's going to be a middle of the pack team. They're 6-1 with a victory over DFM, who is, I thought, the definitely heavy favorite for everyone. Oh wow, we gotta do this one quickly because these games start in like 22 minutes. But the I thought going into the LJL they would be the heavy favorite. The only team we've seen from Japan in quite a while since Pentagram. But Detonation Focus Me is definitely they started the season 1-2. It was a really shaky start. With they had won one game, and then they had lost in game 8, and they had lost in game 3 as well. So it was like yikes. They were on a 2-game losing streak after only winning one game, but since then they've completely recovered and they've won all of their games, and it's been very good for them. Burning Core sitting at 4-3. That's kind of what people expected at the moment. Rascal Jester 2-6, not great. Sengoku, they were supposed to be around what V3 was. I almost said V5 if I said V5 before. I'm sorry, that's an LPL reference for the team V5. But V3 is this team and Sengoku was supposed to be middle of the pack together. Unfortunately for Sengoku, they're 2-6, and V3 is 6-1. So quite the opposite has happened. And then, like we said, Unsold Stuff's having a terrible start at 2-6. And Sengoku's also lost 4 games in a row. So the power rankings, we have Crest Gaming number 1, actually. Detonation Focus Me number 2. V3 number 3. Burning Core number 4. I should have had V3 over Detonation Focus Me, but Detonation Focus Me has won 5 games in a row, and I think they're really heating up right now. So I have a lot of faith in this team. Rascal Jester has moved up to number 5, the only move, really, of all of the LGL that I've had since the last time we talked. Sengoku has dropped to number 6. Unsold Stuff Gaming is dropped to number 7. The only reason we're doing one more change. Unsold Stuff and Sengoku. Because Sengoku's on a 4-game losing streak and they lost Unsold Stuff. But neither of them are as bad as Access, whose only win this split was against Unsold Stuff, which is kind of why I had Unsold Stuff number 6. But they're still, neither one are going to be very strong. So quickly with predictions for week 5. We have Burning Core versus Unsold Stuff. I think Burning Core should be totally fine against them. I have Crest Gaming against Unsold Stuff. Crest Gaming hasn't lost a game yet. You think Unsold Stuff's going to win? Probably after I just said that. Crest Gaming against Detonation Focus Me. I think Detonation Focus Me will finally take them down for their first loss of the season because I'm fully believe in this Detonation Focus Me team. A little bit of bias there. Detonation Focus Me should also be able to take down Burning Core. I think V3 should be able to take down Sengoku. As we said, they were both supposed to be around the same team at the beginning of the split, but V3 has been way better. Way better than Sengoku has. I do think Sengoku is able to take down Axis, because pretty much anyone should be able to take down Axis. Rascal Jester. I have Axis, after I say that, I have Axis upsetting Rascal Jester. This one might be a little personal. If you look back, this is what I want to talk about. I had a win here. We had a Rascal Jester, so we had 3 wins. A Rascal Jester I picked, but they lost. Burning Core, so that's 4 wins. A 7-0 week. 4-0 start, so that is how many wins? 4, 8, 7, 13, with only 1 loss in between there, which was Rascal Jester. And then let's go to game 5. I picked Rascal Jester again. They lost to Unsold Stuff. And then I picked them to lose to Sengoku, and then they beat Sengoku. So Rascal Jester is the only team that I have not been able to predict. And if without them, if I could have gotten their games right, we'd have like a 5, 7, like a 19-game win streak right now. It's infuriating. Every time I see Rascal Jester come up, I always know that if I pick them, they're gonna lose. If I didn't, they're gonna win. And it's really annoying. So I'm picking them in the upset. I'm picking them to lose both games. I hate them. They're mean. But Access Gaming hopefully takes them down. It's not the craziest upset, to be honest, because Rascal's 2-6 and Access is 1-7. But Access is just like, you guys gotta know, Access is really bad. Like, they're really bad. And that's why I have V5 or V3 also taking on Rascal Jester. But that I would have picked anyway. V3 6-1, Rascal Jester's 2-6. Like, come on, that's an easy pickup anyway, in my opinion. So in saying that, Rascal Jester's going 2-0 this week because of my picks. Like, if that happens, you'll hear about it next podcast. And like we said before, next podcast we'll finally have. Oh, look at that! Look at Tarek. And it switched the vein. Oh man, that was a perfect exit. But yeah, that is gonna be the podcast this week. Thank you guys for showing up to the Wildcard podcast. We haven't done it in a while. I'm glad. Hopefully, you guys are all caught up now in all these minor regions. Uh, we are going to be doing the LPL podcast again Sunday, NA Monday, LCK Tuesday, LMS Wednesday, LEC Thursday, and then Wildcard again Friday. And now finally we should be going back to doing the regular style of match histories, power rankings, predictions, because all Rift Rivals is done. Everything's over with. We can do games again. It will be normal. And there actually won't be much match history because there's only 6 games, I believe, for LPL for that one on Sunday. But anyway, thank you guys for bearing with a 40-minute podcast of just me straight talking. And we will see you guys on Sunday for the LPL. Good night.